Hello everyone, welcome to PHTV Channel 4 in Palos Heights. I'm Sue Jankowski and we are around Palos. Today we have Colleen Kissel, who is the founder and CEO of the Pediatric Oncology Treasure Chest Foundation. It's a long title, but Colleen, welcome to our program today.
Thank you, Jan, for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. Well, so this Pediatric Oncology Treasure Chest Foundation. Colleen, I guess we need to know exactly what is that, when I'm saying all of that. What are people thinking about or doing, or what does it mean to them? And how did you come to, you're the founder of this, so how did you come to decide to have this foundation?
Well, it started about 26 years ago. Not the history started 26 years ago for me.
The reason you started.
Yes. Because the Treasure Chest Foundation is in existence for now 23 years, but 26 years ago, my little boy, who was 7 years old, was diagnosed with cancer. And I always say that he was a healthy little boy. He had a perfect attendance in first grade, a perfect attendance in kindergarten. And he developed flu-like symptoms, and we took him to the pediatrician. And the pediatrician took one look at him and said, "Take him to Palos Hospital right now." And looking back, my little boy was as white as a ghost, but I thought it was February. You know, I thought he needed some sun.
Right.
He was bruised. I thought he was fighting too much with his brother. They were always like tumbleweeds rolling around on the floor.
That boys?
Yes, they were a year apart and they were crazy.
Yeah.
And but the doctor saw the bruises and the pallor, the white, as something was seriously wrong. And we went to Palos, and that was, back then they didn't have cell phones, and on the way, they took a blood test, and on the way home, in the car, they had called our phone recorder and said, "Bring him back right away." So we had...
Like, don't go to the hospital, go back to the doctor's office.
Go back to the hospital.
Oh,
like we were on the way home from the blood test.
Oh,
that was what the pediatrician wanted us to do,
I see.
Take him to the hospital, get a blood test. And so anyway, we went back to the hospital, and he was hospitalized. And I thought it was a flu, a stubborn flu. And the next day, this unfamiliar, shorter doctor, Dr. Selby, who's a pediatric oncologist, walked in the room and asked my mother and I to go into a conference hall. And, well, of course, obviously, it's not good, but you don't think it's cancer.
No.
And they, we walked down this hall, and it felt like walking off the plank of a ship. I mean, it was dreadful, and we get in there, and there were social workers and members of the clergy, and I mean, I heard today horrible stories of the way they tell you your little boy or girl has cancer, but back then it was a whole thing. And so they're telling my mom and I this news, and in the hallway is my little boy on a ambulance transport cart. And when the door opened up, we were in an ambulance transporting to Christ Hospital, and that was the nearest children's cancer treatment center, which was a real gift to go there because the oncologist was so loving. I mean, it's the same treatment universally. They don't do a little something here and a little something there. They do it they know that this treatment will take care of little boys or little girls with leukemia. Mm-hmm. It's a national protocol. So going to Christ was a gift because it was down the street from my home. I mean, I know of people that have to travel hours or an hour. It depends where you live, of course. Mm-hmm. So the next day treatment started at Christ Hospital. And what I would learn is that this treatment would be 3.5 years long, and it was so dreadful. The chemotherapy was really nothing compared to the procedures, which consisted of bone marrow aspirations and spinal taps. And most of those, A, check for the cancer, and B, treat like the fluids in your spinal column. And I mean, this was endless, and he was 7. And they never had a sticker or a sucker for these kids.
Oh, gosh.
I know. So
I mean, this is so heartbreaking. And so like all of a sudden you think your child is sick with the flu, and 2 days later they're getting some kind of treatment. And you're right. Back 20 years ago, there were no special things for little ones.
Right, right. I mean, and even the treatment back then, they would just put like a pain-numbing Band-Aid or cream on him, and then they would barrel into his skin with it looked like a wine, a cork remover, like something they would use to remove a cork from a bottle of wine.
Oh, brother.
I mean, and they let me and my husband, we were able to stay in that room with him and everything, and he was such a trooper. He would just, to this day, he's a go-along type personality, you know? I got lucky. Yeah. So anyway, after the fog lifted for my little boy, he was protesting going there because he knew he didn't know what cancer was. He knew it hurt. Mm-hmm. And I have this image of him on the top bunk bed without a ladder, burrowing into the wall. I'm not going ever, you know, and I didn't know if he was going to live or die at this point because kids were dying around me. And I decided I was going to bribe my son
big time.
With big time, because I was going to make his life nice in case, right? You know, and so that changed everything. I had, feel emotions right now. I had a trunk full of these toys, and they were all wrapped in wrapping paper. And he could just see all these wrapped up toys, and all of a sudden, now he wanted to go. I don't think he really wanted to go, but he wanted those toys.
Right.
Yeah, so it changed everything. So we went through the 4 years because you would go in and out of the clinic. That's how they liked it. You just go in, you get your treatment, you go out, but you can go up to 3 times a week. In the beginning, you're going once a month for years. And that was like a life-changing switch, if you will, for my son. Mm-hmm. So after we approached the like 3.5, 4 year mark, and he did not have a relapse. And what I've noticed, and it's an unspoken word, that is if you make it through the cancer treatment without a relapse, you're one of the lucky ones, because it means the chemo worked. And so I was starting to imagine, like at the time, like a program of bribery for all of these kids at Hope Hospital. They had built Hope Hospital since my son's diagnosis. Like, we started at Christ and then they built Hope. And
so that was going on while he's at Christ. They're building the Hope Hospital during that period of time. And then did he eventually go over there to that?
Yes, exactly.
So it was a new facility,
yes. So he was, right, and what a lovely facility. And I mean, I didn't know the difference between we'd never been through anything like this. So Christ Hospital, the people there were great. That was what was wonderful about it. So then he moves to this awesome facility, and I talked about a program of bribery, I call it, or like a treasure chest at Hope, emulating what I did for my son. And the doctors and nurses thought it was a really great idea. And the funny thing is, the very first treasure chest was about this big, and it was full of used library books. That's all we could get. And everybody was like, oh, this is great, you know. And now, if you fast forward to today, our treasure chests are the size of a Hope chest, and they're full of high-end, top-of-the-line toys. We do not have stickers or suckers. We don't have anything used. And I can't take credit for that. That's the community. And, you know, one thing, when we started, or I started this, I guess I was a one-man band at Hope Hospital. It was the community that got behind this idea, and these great toys and donations started to roll in, which prompted, well, why not Children's Memorial, or why not University of Chicago? Today, we serve every children's cancer treatment center in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin.
Wow.
Let alone 19 states in the nation.
Wow. And all have sprung from your initial start with your son.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Amazing.
I mean, and but if you were to put a push pin, we have a facility in Orland Park, a warehouse, where we house all these toys. If you were to put a push pin in there and draw a 30-mile radius, it is that our community, where I'm sitting right now, our community supports the nation. We don't have, I don't want to say people aren't bringing toys to the facilities, let's say in Colorado, because people are. But we are the ongoing toy distribution operation that all of these facilities can count on a monthly basis. We ship these toys across the nation to California, the West Coast, the East Coast, the West Coast, the East Coast, Florida, Colorado, Oklahoma, 19 states in the nation.
That is remarkable. I mean, wow. So this is an enormous operation, really. You've got a warehouse. You've got to get these treasures,
yes,
toys, etc., out and distribute them. You do that by trucks? I mean, how do you do all this?
Yes. Well, I'm able to bring them in because of opportunities like this. I'm able to bring in the toys. Public speaking opportunities, if you will, or letter writing, and and it seems like all of our schools and our churches are repeat customers, are repeat donors.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Wonderful.
We had 120 toy drives come in 1 month last December. And 99% of the people or churches and schools were repeat customers. And you want the churches and school because you could bring in 300 or 400 toys at once.
Yes.
But we still, someone knocked on the door on Monday, and it was a father. He said, my daughter never opened or they use these toys. She has too much, So we still need the individual donor.
Right. It all counts.
Yes. And so, so we're able to bring the toys in because of, again, I go back to the community, the members of the community that believe in what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, now what if people don't have like a toy or don't know what to shop or buy for or whatever? You probably take a monetary donation as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's our greatest need. We never have to buy a toy, but we need things, we call it in-kind is what the professional word is, in-kind physical. We need gifts for teenagers.
Okay.
And people don't bring in those like they bring in the toys.
Yeah, because they don't know what to do. What do you do for a teenager? What do they want?
I know. I don't even know if they realize that teenagers still are going through this cancer treatment too.
Right.
So we, an example might be, of course, a hat, but gift cards in increments of $5. Wallets, belts, CDs, DVDs, earbuds. I mean, anything a teenage boy would like. That's our hardest client. It's easier to buy for a teenage girl.
Yes.
With the makeup and the jewelry and the purses and all that. But the boys, that's what we need, people to help us with the teenagers.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you saying that is it better if someone really wanted to help with the teenagers, so that said, I don't know what to buy a boy, here is $50 or whatever, and just donate it, and then you'll buy it. Is that a good way to do it?
Well, ideally, no, what we really need the most of is money. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Because we have nothing to sell. We don't have any help from the government or whatever. We don't have any, we're on a wing and a prayer. And we managed to stay alive for 23 years. But we need, financial support.
Right.
And so if someone was to bring in a $25 gift card from Target, we would send our volunteers out to shop and buy things for teenage boys. But we still have to keep our lights on. We're still like any other business. As much as it's a nonprofit, it's a charitable organization, but it's a business.
Right.
And we have 4 part-time people, myself. A minute ago you asked how we get these toys. Do we have trucks? No, we have, we ship all of our donations through UPS. We fall under, yes, that's our greatest cost.
Yeah.
We fall under a charitable umbrella with UPS, but believe me, it's
still money.
It's not that big for what we do. We do have some senior men, I call them seniors, retired maybe. They do drive the toys to the local hospitals, like the ones in Chicago. That saves, that's a gift. They don't charge, of course they're volunteering, they're not charging us for gas, but they will drive the toys to the dock or the front desk, whatever it takes. So we've been able to save that way, But most, 99% of, well, no, not really, probably 70–80% of the toys are shipped through UPS.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is kind of like an ongoing thing. You fill up your facility, you start shipping things out. Is there like a need base, like the hospital will say, hey, we're running out of things, and you have like a communication between,
yes,
it's time to send out some more things to us?
Well, we do have we do survey the nurses every year, the people that run the Treasure Chest program. They will they receive the donation and then they take care of it at that point. This is just strictly kids who have cancer. This isn't throughout the whole hospital. But we do learn that we have more teenage boys now, or we have more teenage girls, or we have more toddlers, or we stay in contact with what they need. And we know we have a guesstimate, like Hope Hospital is huge. If I'm not mistaken, about 300 kids go through there a week. Oh. But you get a smaller institution like a proton therapy center, and they might have 10 or 15 a week, because that's like a beam type thing, it's radiation, whatever. We know, we have a guesstimate of how many kids pass through week after week, so we send out based on that the population they're serving.
Okay, it's sort of like, this sounds so gigantic and so complex, and there's so many facets that you have to, receive the toys or donations or buy them, and then you have to get them out to all of these locations and sites and make sure that they're well stocked. It's this huge undertaking.
Oh, it is. I mean, we keep about 20 volunteers a week busy. We have these two groups, and like when a toy comes in, let's say it's not covered, it's open. We would never ship something used, but let's say a toy is not covered. Our volunteers will cover it with plastic. Let's say somebody brings in crayons or coloring books or like a little tiny toy like this big. Okay, our volunteers will group it all together in a Ziploc type bag, because we don't want to be about a box of crayons at the bottom of this treasure chest. We want this to be a high end, like when the kids wake up in the morning, mom and dad can remind them, this isn't like going to a dentist office. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but
no.
This isn't like a little squiggly thing on a tabletop counter.
Right.
This is the real deal. This is the size of a hope chest full of high-end expensive toys.
Right.
And if a smaller toy comes in, it's grouped, and now it's a whole gift package. Yes. So we're keeping all of our volunteers busy too. They label every toy to indicate where it came from. And every once in a while, maybe grandma or grandpa will see that sticker that says Treasure Chest Foundation and go online and make a donation. Or, we're not trying to get anything from anybody, especially going through that. But you never know. We do label everything to...
Well, I'm sure that people who are going through this, then hopefully as they end, they have told people about it, or they feel like, hey, this was wonderful for my child, and I want to kind of keep that, pay it forward a little bit.
Yes.
And that's just remarkable, and you're so right. Just going through that as a child or a young person, anybody going through that, but when you really can't explain it to your 7-year-old as something they're going to have to keep doing for... How long was it? 3 years?
4 years, but then that's not even the 5th year of more procedures to check for the reoccurrence of the cancer. And you're making a really great point. These kids don't know what cancer is.
No.
All they know is it hurts.
Right.
Now, that's not true for a teenager. They might know of a grandma who had it or something.
Right.
And it's way scarier for them, but these kids don't know how...
Why do I have to keep doing this too?
Right,
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes, right.
So yes, bribery, if you want to call it that, a reward, something to make you feel better, that works a lot for little ones, and even, and teenagers as well.
And they're, after a while, they're bringing their siblings home a toy, and who cares? We don't care.
No.
And
that's nice.
If they're blessed, their treatment went well, and they're blessed, and they finally finish, if you will. Oh, what a gift. We made it nicer for them, because I know how hard that was for these kids, how hard it is for these kids.
And what a great idea you had for your son, because that was getting to be old for him. He didn't want to go, and this was a nice way of giving him a little bit of incentive. And plus, you do feel sorry for them. You can't explain it. You want them to do it, and it's barely going to make a difference to them to get this toy. They just don't want to do what they're doing. So at least that's a little something.
A little something,
this is just,
right.
Just a wonderful thing. So, this is just branched out to be pretty huge, and I can see why it's a full-time job for you to just keep track of all of this kind of thing. So you've been doing this for 23 years.
Yes.
And as you went along, you had the one site, hospital, and then you kept. Did people just hear about this? How did this all happen?
Well, because of the World Wide Web, I'm able to find out where these children cancer treatment centers are located. Because the day that my boy went to Palos, Palos is a community hospital, wonderful place, but they don't have pediatric oncologists there. So you have to go to a children's cancer treatment center. And believe me, if you live in Champaign, Illinois, and I know for a fact, you have to drive to Chicago or Peoria. That's how they're spread out. So anyway, I'm able to go on the World Wide Web and look at the list. And we, like I said earlier, we covered every institution in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin on purpose. We wanted to cover our neighbors, and we're working on Michigan, we're working on Minnesota, we're working on Ohio. We opened 2 treasure chest programs in Ohio. We realize now that the closer you are to Illinois, the less you're spending in shipping. That's our goal. We're going to try to work on the Midwest. We have more toys than we need more children's cancer treatment centers in a way because of our community. And we would love to have that reputation of just keep moving forward and keep opening these programs.
Right.
And we've been able to do 2 or 3 a year lately. But in the beginning, I don't know how I did 4 at one time, and I was a one-man band. I
don't know. It's remarkable what you can do sometimes.
No, but I really, honestly, I always like to tell this story. I dug in dumpsters for cardboard boxes, but you do what you have to do. Right. And I knew where the clean boxes were. Yes. And now we have boxes delivered by box companies that are free, if you will. They're donated. Yesterday we picked up 35,000 bags because a bag company said we're in, because we need those bags for these gift bags I described and to cover these toys.
Right.
So we're really blessed to have awesome support.
Right, so, you are. And this is, you come under the umbrella of a charitable foundation, so yes. This has, this is tax deductible.
Yes.
If people are looking for, hey, is this like authentic? Yes, so you can get that tax deduction with this if you wanted to make a really nice big donation. It sounds like it's fun to buy the toys and say, here's some toys, but it sounds like, you need both, of course, because it's all about giving the kids something to look forward to in that treasure chest. But really, you need that basic monies to get the toys where they need to be going and house them and all of that, like keep the lights on, like you were saying.
Yes. I wish I had something to sell because I could keep money coming in, but instead I have to just connect with your heart. Right. You told me you are a grandma. That's who's going to help us. Right. A person who could perhaps feel what these kids go through.
Right.
And that's what we're about. And we do need monetary donations. We're like this with the toys, and then the money. It's always every day is a wing and a prayer.
Yeah.
Every day is a letter. Every day is a phone call. Every day is try to write a grant proposal. I don't have a grant writer. That's me. I mean, but I'm finding it's harder and harder to find the time to bring in the money.
Yeah.
So
and those are complicated. I've heard. I've never written
those
a grant,
go on and on. Those are
and
if you get lucky, then they're repeat donors because they believe in us, and you don't have to work as hard.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But getting that first one, that can steal a lot of time, and you might not even get it.
Yeah. After all of that.
Yes.
Wow. Well, along with this, you do have. I don't know if you have more than one fundraiser, but this one is your 10th annual Treasuring Our Kids fundraiser, which is coming up pretty soon.
Yes.
And do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, every charitable organization has to go through this, which is have an annual fundraiser. It can be great for showing your donors, showcasing the treasure chest through a video. We always have an honorary chair who is a patient, and his mom and dad will get up and talk about the treasure chest. And we have prizes galore. I mean, this is where the other side of the community comes in. We've had a $500 gift card from a furniture store donated, and a ride in a DeLorean. WGN is donated tickets to one of their shows, that type of thing. People like all that. They love to take the chances, and they're supporting a good cause.
Right.
And so we have a really high-end event at the Odyssey, and this year, the Odyssey in Tinley Park, this year we have, I was able to bring in Channel 2 news anchor Jim Williams is how he's known, Jim Williams. He is going to MC, so if you wanted to experience, I call him a famous person, and he's a lovely man, MCing an event, come to ours, and he's going to MC the event. And but something like this is a lot of work. And it can bring in, if you're lucky, hopefully $30,000. But when you think of what you need for a whole year to run the operation, that's a small chunk of the budget.
Yes.
But every charitable organization has to do it or needs to do it. And sometimes I get really jealous when I'll see on the web, and I don't know if it's true, we raised $600,000. I don't know how they could in one night.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. I just read that from a competitor.
Yeah. So you're like, how'd you do that?
Exactly.
Give me your secret.
Exactly. So unless someone's there writing a $500,000 check, because believe me,
they would have to be getting gigantic checks like that.
Yes. But that if we could get that big donor, that person would receive a charitable right, like a tax deduction. That's who you really want. Not want. You need people.
You hope for.
You hope for the bigger guns that need a place to support so that they can get help with their taxes. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay.
You did. And they're doing a wonderful thing. And so many people are looking like, where is a charity, a foundation that I feel will make a difference to people, and this would make a huge difference. We're talking about children with cancer. I mean, what more huge difference can you make in the lives in the lives of those kids and young teenagers?
Thank you.
So that is on Saturday, March 23rd. It's from 5 to 10:30 p.m. at the Odyssey Country Club, which is beautiful, and that's on 19110 Ridgeland Avenue in Tinley Park. It's really easy to find. It's a beautiful place. So. It's called. I like the title of this, the Mad Hattest Dinner Party.
Yes.
Do people get into it and wear the hats?
Yeah, we have this. A lady on my board is so artistic. So she ran around the South Side and grabbed all the teacups she could find, and she made teacup centerpieces.
Oh, cute.
And she's taking a mirror and putting the flowers around. The whole theme is Alice in Wonderland, a Mad Hatter dinner party. So. Half of the people will have a little hat or flare, and the other half will be dressed up, if you will, for a
nice
gala, if you will. Yes. So it will. We try to make it really nice and unique. So every year we have a theme. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, the tickets are only $70, and that is a contribution that you are really making to. And plus, you're having a dinner on top of it and a fun night. But where would they get these tickets?
Oh, well, they're on sale right now online. We have a very easy webpage address. It's treasurechestoneword.org.
Oh,
and if you were to type that in the search bar, the homepage has the ticket sales right there as soon as it opens up. You have the opportunity to buy a table, and it is an open bar. It's a full dinner, so you do get a lot for $70. I mean, people say it should be higher, but we don't want to lose our people either. But
you don't, but so many are much higher than that.
Yes.
So I mean, that is at least a reasonable amount, and gosh, it's a wonderful night. And not only that, it's just a good thing to do.
Yes,
it's a kind thing to do. So okay, so if they wanted to call, is there a number that they could call?
Yes.
That said, I want to drop off something, or so they can tell where to go and talk to somebody.
Well, our phone number is unique also, 708-687-TOYS. And if anybody, everybody who comes into our facility can see firsthand how highly organized. We have all of our toys are in categories, and I just love to give tours to people because they're never the same. And they really get a better understanding. And that's another gift I wanted to tell you about. 7 years ago, maybe 7-ish, yeah, during the Great Recession, we were busting out of a rental. We had this tiny little rental, and we were just busting out of it. And I was walking through the neighborhood, and I found this empty, vacant building that was owned by the bank, and it was in foreclosure. And anyway, one of our donors, he's a Payless man. I don't know if I should say his name, but anyway, he said to me, "I will lend you the money to buy this foreclosed,
wow,
dilapidated building that we turned into a castle." You know?
Isn't that wonderful?
I know, what a
Yes.
gift. And so we're paying back his estate, and what a gift. So we have if you could see the inside, it is so beautiful. I mean, you just leave there knowing that your toy is being taken care of. And everything that comes in, unless it's used, goes out. And if it's used, it goes to Goodwill, you know, or whatever, a resale type place. We don't just throw it away, you know.
No, it goes somewhere.
We try to
It's
take
being
care of
used.
everything
Yes.
we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we want new toys for this.
Yeah, right. We only want, or the only thing we can ship, rather, is brand new. And the nurses and the doctors, they don't want stuffed animals. People do bring them in, but we just say thank you, but we do not, they don't want the stuffed animals for various reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's true. You know, at Christmas, when everyone's donating toys to this and that, they do ask for a new toy unwrapped so that you know, it's fresh and new and doesn't have anything wrong with it or germs or whatever on it, because that's really important too. So okay, so it's not too late to go to the fundraiser at this point. You can still do that. You can go check online. We're putting that information up on the screen. And I mean, this is just such a wonderful thing, and just so kind, and such hard work for all of these years that you have done after experiencing such trauma in your own life, and then to reach out to other people and say, I know what it's like to go through this, and I know what those kids are going through because of my son, and this helped him so much and made it a little more bearable.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, this is a real gift to be able to get the word out in the community, to thank the community. I tried to explain how it's the community that fills that warehouse in Orland Park, about 155th and Harlem vicinity.
Okay.
So we're down the street. If you're ever in the area, or any of your listeners are in the area, or viewers, boy, that'd be great to showcase our wonderful operation.
It really, really would. I just think it's a remarkable story, Colleen, that you have done this, started this, and I hope that you get a huge crowd, and I hope you get some great donations.
Thank you.
Please come back and see us, because you have just such a fascinating story, and I'm glad it all turned out okay for you.
Thank you so much.
You know, we just keep hoping that for all these poor kids, you know, you see them on TV and you know, looking for help and donations, and your just heart breaks for you know, anybody with cancer, but particularly children.
Right. It's really dreadful. It is, and you just want to get to the other side of it all, and that's what we're about.
Trying to make it as pleasant as a journey as
possible.
possible. Well, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today,
you very
Colleen.
much. I really appreciate this gift.
Yes,
thank
you're
you.
so welcome. Well, thanks for watching, and those numbers are up on your screen. You can go and you can have a great time at the Mad Hatters dinner party coming up, and you can just make a nice donation. Thanks for watching us today. See you next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.